camera. It was money that he gave me, and they were not cheap. I mean, in total, my lighting cost about 2,500 rands, and it was from him. In total, my lighting that is in this room was financed by him. So I'm able to have better lighting conditions in my ministry because of what he did.
Hello, please like, please comment, please share and share and share and share, and then please subscribe. Thanks.
I have told them, dust your feet off if you give them the gospel and they don't want to hear it. Dust, baby, dust. As in, dust. Leave a plume of smoke behind them as the exhaust fumes of your car. Leave. Like they literally land on him as you drive off. Do that, my baby. Leave him with dust, smoke, plumes of smoke, exhaust fumes that he's inhaling. Drive. Vroom. And if he wants me, he will come to me. Who in the world finds such a long-suffering ride or die wife with absolutely not much left to look forward to in life and treats her like she ain't jack? You know the level of self-esteem crushing erosion that comes about in the life of a woman disregarded by the man that she is working 24/7 for. You know how much that can make a woman feel ugly? You know how quickly that can age her? You know how much that can make her disregard any compliment coming from anywhere else because it's not coming from the right place? It's not coming from this man. If I tell you, alright guys, yes, then let's talk. Let's talk about this. I want to help you understand the power of a man in a woman's life when he does right and versus when he does not do well. Just his might to decimate, to destroy, to shatter, to absolutely annihilate, lay waste a woman, or build her up. Allow me to give you understanding as to what is the might of a man in a woman's life, just by giving you a small little story of what happened as to how I met this guy. Not so much met him, but what his initial disposition with me was. His initial constitution. He was so serving. He was so loving, so supportive of me. Literally, I could have been the envy of all women the way that this man was catering to my needs. My channel on YouTube is empty, it's barren. I get no views. Like, life is really hard. Like, this work that I'm doing is like, I sometimes wonder, who am I talking to exactly? And this guy rocked up in the earlier stages since I returned back from underground, because I was underground for a couple of years. If you've been following me consistently, you will know that history, right? I'm not going to elaborate on it right now because I've got this particular point to rather get home. When I returned, literally just the first like week or two since I returned, that's when this guy contacted me. And he was like, I've been looking at you for a minute. My goodness, I thought you were dead. Because I went underground. Like, I've been persecuted now for 8 years. And there was a time, a couple of years ago, when I was literally recording my persecution and uploading it on YouTube to show people my struggle. And I just disappeared one day from on YouTube. And I haven't been back until recently. So he subscribed to my channel back then. But he subscribed to my channel and then realized that I suddenly stopped working. I suddenly stopped working somewhere, right? He got kind of addicted. He loved my work, but then realized, oh my goodness, she's been quiet for so long, maybe she's died. That's how bad my persecution has been, that he got to the conclusion that I might have died. So even though he subscribed to me, he eventually later learned that I apparently died. But then I came back, and so because he had notification bells and because he was a subscriber on my channel, he got told Cranberry K has uploaded a new post, and he was like, she's bad. Oh my goodness, she's not dead. This is 2 years after he last found my ministry. So to him it was like, the dead woman is not dead, she's alive. That's what made me feel as though this man might be very potentially Isaac, because of the way that he would have found Rebecca. She was working for her father. He thought she was dead. Like, he was a man investigating the things of God on the internet, found me, followed me, found out after following a whole bunch of my content that, oh my, she might even be dead, because I suddenly went quiet. And when I came back, he was like, oh, you're alive? And so he developed a strong burden, I imagined, in him to help me out, because I was suffering so much. He found me only after I left YouTube. And then when I came back, he saw that I was still struggling. And then he was like, so he reached out. He was like, yeah, he only confessed to me a couple of, because I had privatized all of my old work, and that's how I know that he was telling the truth. Because all of my old work, I privatized it before I returned to YouTube officially. Meaning that his memory of my struggle was genuine. It was real, because he would not have any access to those private videos. Because I privatized all of my old work. You guys don't know all of my old work. You won't be able to see it because I have privatized it. I wanted to start afresh, a new, leaf. So that for me is what made me open my heart to him. I was like, this guy was praying for me. he realized that I had disappeared. When I came back, he then was like, I want to help you. And so that's how I ended up just kind of like falling for him. It felt kind of romantic to me that he saw me in the darkest of time, imagined I had died, felt sad. When I came back, was instantly like, oh my goodness, hi. I thought you would, what's going on? Good to see you back. Good to see you back. I was like, this guy's been watching me for a minute from a distance. I saw it as a romantic thing. He's been watching me. He tried to contact me a couple of times. When a person tries to holler at you on the internet? When a person tries to contact, like if you're a YouTuber and somebody comments, hey, I want to send you this. I want to give you a blessing. Give me your email address. You're like, freak, creep, stalker, please. Like, you don't just allow anybody to talk to you on social media. So he sent me quite a lot. He commented a lot on the videos that I did. And he would say, like, I've been watching to the end. Hey, I've got this burden from the Lord to help you out in this way. I don't want anything from you. I just want to help you. I just want to like send you money and what have you. And I ignored him. I ignored him perhaps the first 3 or 4 times that he was busy commenting on my work. But on my YouTube, I've got what do you call this? In the description box, I put my Twitter, I put my Facebook, I put my TikTok, I put my whatever accounts, Instagram that I've got else, in order for people to go and follow me there. So this guy went and followed me on Instagram. He then went and followed me and a friend requested me on Facebook. I didn't know who it was, who that was friend requesting me, and because I don't push anybody away, if at all you come to my Facebook, you might potentially get given Christ the gospel, learn who Jesus is. So I accept friendship requests from Facebook coming from all different kinds of weird places. I don't care. I only block people and unfriend them and whatnot if they start to act creepy all up in my group. But I tend to accept everyone that asks for a friend request on me, from Facebook. I don't only allow friends and people I know in my physical actual life. So my Facebook account, I'm friends there with quite a lot of people that I don't know, because they just asked for friendship, and I was like, okay, whatever, as long as you stay in a neat bunch and you don't try to stalk me or gaslight me or catfish me, we're good. So this guy was yet another like person amidst the myriads of people that were asking for my friendship on Facebook. And I had also disappeared from Facebook for a minute. So when I came back, all of a sudden I started accepting friend requests. During the time when I was deactivated, nobody could ask me for friendship. For years I was deactivated. I went back to Facebook, and then those friendship requests that came in, I just accepted, and without just like indiscriminately, just yes, okay, fine, whatever. And this guy then wrote on my wall a couple of times, hi, it's I've been trying to talk to you. I've been like, and I was like, oh my, who's this, whatever. Ignored him until eventually he sent me a DM. First he posted on my wall, and I was like, oh, it's one of these new friends on Facebook. What does he want? I don't chat with people I don't know. I don't just talk to men I don't know. So I ignored him. I so greatly, a lot. I just ignored this guy, because for me it was like, I don't want no creep, no stalker from the internet. And on top of that, I thought that he was from South Africa. So the close proximity of him also made me scared. I was like, he's gonna next thing be all up in my yard, jumping up and down like a kangaroo. But on my Facebook post, he said, on my wall, he said, it's your brother from, let's say, the United States. Okay, I'm not going to say which state exactly he's in so as to not narrow him down too much. He's like, it's your brother from this particular state in the US. And so when he said United States, I was like, for me, it was like, he's far. He's like at a distance, and he knows that I'm in South Africa. He knows that I am in South Africa because I am vocal about where it is that I'm at on social media. Right? He knows that I'm in South Africa. So therefore, if he is claiming that God has charged him to sow a seed into my life, help me out in some way, and he's sitting all the way in the United States of America, the likelihood of him being a con artist trying to see if he can't get a pretty little thing real quick and just bank her underneath his armpit is low. For me, it was like he is how many random, filthy, freaky, little weird stalker men are happy to go right ahead and get on an airplane just to like con a woman, con or whatever. And I also thought that he's the one that's sending me money. It's not a two-way exchange at all. So I could just give him my banking details, and then we'll see like how he's gonna behave himself. So as soon as I found out that he was in a different continent altogether, as soon as I found out that he's not in South Africa, he's not even in Africa, for me it was like, it's safe fish. It's safe fish. I needed money. I was indeed in dire straits. I did like need help. And he was among the first few people to respond positively to my newfound return to ministry. So I was like, hey, there are plenty of Christians on the internet that get offered help by complete strangers. So maybe this is how God wants to help me out. So as soon as I saw his post on my wall on Facebook, and him saying that he is from another country, I went into his profile. And I kind of looked into it to confirm if he's indeed in another country. Right? I didn't want to, like, hey guys, catfish is a real thing, right? People go out of their way to create fake profiles on the internet, adding like babies' pictures and everything there, with wives and family members and grandmothers and aunties literally taking photos of family, and it's like catfish. It's like a whole fake profile. So given that I know how badly people can catfish, I went into his Facebook profile. Since he was my friend, I had access to just about everything. Took very few photos of himself, and in these pics he was just literally just by himself. And I was like, these photos where you're not posing with your grandmother and your granddad and your dad and your son and your daughter and your cat and your dog. Hi. These guys were just one little random 2 5 photos. So I started reading the comments on his pics. The few of them that there were, and it was family members that were like, oh brother, you're still looking handsome and whatnot. I was like, okay, it looks like it could be a real profile, because his actual people are commenting saying, good to see you on Facebook. I then went to go and see when he started his Facebook page, because I thought that maybe he started a Facebook page just to stalk me, right? And I scrolled down, and I found out that it's a couple of years old. So I was like, okay. And upon scrolling down his Facebook as well, yes, of course, in his bio, he wrote that he is from the US in this particular state. He went here to school, but people create fake bios, but you can't fake a catfish account for years. It becomes difficult to maintain. You know what I mean? So I scrolled down like a lot, and the people who posted on his wall, and also his own post on his wall, I also basically he posted a whole bunch of Christian content. It was his whole Facebook page. All of his posts, if not most of his posts, if not all of them, are something related to Christianity. So the end times, God, this is what Jesus is doing, blah blah. So I was like, this is a real brother. Like, he's a Christian. He's been doing this way back. I came back to the forefront, to the surface, just a few weeks ago. At that stage, it was just a few weeks back. This guy has been doing this for years. He obviously could not have been planning to deceive me all these years prior to even knowing that I'm still alive, type thing. So upon scrolling down, I not only noticed that genuine people commented on his page, himself, he's been doing Christian work on his Facebook since then. Pretty much all of his walk there, it looked legit. Even though he didn't have very many pics in his Facebook albums, right? Most of them is just like selfies of himself, like whatever. And again, for me, it was like narcissism, but who cares? I was not thinking that I could romantically be involved with this guy, like, at all. So for me, it was like whatever. Even though I'm not a big fan of guys just taking like little random selfies, I like a guy that's chill, man. Not too focused inward on himself, like looking in the mirror all the time. I'm cool with guys like those, but anyway, whatever. For me, I was like, and besides, there are not even that many of them, and I'm not even trying to be with him, so it doesn't matter. I then got out, I confirmed, I validated in and of myself that he's a genuine profile. He's not a catfish. He is a real person with a real walk in Christ, and he has a real genuine desire to do something for me. I don't know what it is, and he's chilling all the way in the United States. And so because he's in the US, the likelihood of being duped, deceived, conned, and all different kinds of weird, shallow, strange stuff is very low. I could always protect myself by blocking him. And he doesn't know where I'm at in South Africa, and I highly doubt he's going to get on an airplane just to handle me a bad blow. So I, for those reasons only, then allowed myself to respond to his DM. He has sent me a direct message. So first he posted on my wall, I think two or three times, and I ignored him. But then when he sent me a DM, like a direct message on Facebook, and it kind of popped up, I was like, ugh. It's that guy that's been writing on my wall. That's when I went on his profile and scanned everything down. And after scanning everything down and confirming that he's a regular, normal human being, he's a person, he's like a real person, okay? I then responded to him by saying, I'm not sure what you're trying to do. Like, what are your intentions? My response in DM was, what are your intentions? So this guy tried to contact me on YouTube. On YouTube, I completely ignored him. He was in my comment section. I wouldn't even like or thumbs up his commentary. I just ignored it altogether. Unless he's commenting on some nice video or funny LOL, then I would like or heart or whatever. But otherwise, I just ignored him, like, entirely. If he was busy talking about how I want to send you a blessing, I want to do this, I was like, So, only once he sent that DM did I do more research on him on Facebook. I then spoke to him finally, and then his response was, I just want to send you a blessing that God has put on my heart. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, money. I want to send you money. I want to see if I can't send you money. I then was at that stage when he was like, I want to send you money. I was like, okay, literally. I put the cards on the table. I was like, I'm a beautiful woman. And like, yeah, I'm being honest about what in the world I said. I was like, I'm a beautiful woman, and I'm a beautiful woman that is going through nonsense in this world. You know that if at all you've been following my work on YouTube. You know that I am covering my struggle and my journey. And I am a godly woman. I am struggling. I've lost everything. And people treat me like trash. I also have a history of exploitation by men, where it is that they have tried to capitalize on my very bad situation. By like claiming that they want to come and give me a blessing, claiming that they want to service my car or fill up petrol in my vehicle, or give me money to go and buy myself a pair of stockings or whatever to like ride out the winter type setup thing. I've had a lot of men offer me stuff, and then somewhere along the way they go pear-shaped in the rye, because I won't sleep with them, I won't be with them, I won't do whatever. So I just have to put this caveat out there. I have to put this caveat out there and just let you know that I'm not up for business. You and I will never ever enter into a relationship. And if at all you still feel charged by the Most High to bless me, as you say that you want to bless me, by all means, but I understand you're not going to get anything. There are no strings attached here. And his response was, hey, look, I just want to do what Christ said I need to do. And he then he basically said that I'm not even trying to like hurt you. I told you on the Facebook, on the YouTube comment section, I let you know that I don't want anything from you. I just feel like, charged to help you out in this particular way. So I was like, well, okay, in that instance, thank you very much. I could do with a little bit of help. I could do with some help. I am struggling. So whatever it is that God has put on your heart to give me, then by all means. We then went through this whole long, winding, very struggling, laborious process of trying to figure out how to get money to me from the United States. I had to go and investigate at my bank. I had to go and open a bank account because I didn't even have one. We had to try and figure out. He tried to send me money through some other channel that was very difficult. They wouldn't put the money into my account, but I had to go there and collect it in cash, and I didn't know where to go. Anyway, it was a whole long story. It was really hard to get money to me. It was really, really hard to get money to me. Eventually, we figured it out through Remitly, which is some kind of a mediator for international transactions, and I think it's a international transaction system that they use, as Swift, right? We eventually figured it out, and Remitly became the application that we used and the services that we used in order to get money to me. So then he started to send me money, right? And understand, guys, I've been parched, right? I've been really just going through it. For years, nobody has taken care of me. Nobody has cared. I'm living in the squalor in these bad conditions. I can't even take my cat to the vet. I can't take myself to the dermatologist and deal with my acne. I can't do anything. Like, I'm literally stranded, and I have been left this way by my family members. They couldn't care less to help me out. So therefore, guys, there is a very big fat risk in a woman that has been so abandoned and neglected like that by everybody. When a man comes and suddenly just caters to their needs, even though you initially were like, I'm not even trying to holler at you, I don't like what, this is not going to end up in a relationship, you catch feelings. You catch feelings. The way that this man took care of me, my goodness, like, I can't even begin to describe to you the way that he took care of me. And it helped as well that what he was sending me was dollars. So like transferred, balloon it into rands. It's like times 14. He sent me money that I have not seen in a minute. Like, in this season, nobody has catered to me. Nobody has cared. My mom used to give me 600 meager bucks a month, and I can't even do very much with that. This man sent me thousands. In total, we were like, the transaction, the relationship that we had lasted, I would say, as about a month and a half. Like, it wasn't even that long. A month and a half is the longest amount of time that I would say we probably was in contact with each other. And in that month and a half, he sent me like literally almost 10,000 rands, like 10,000 rands in a month and a half, like in total. It wasn't one sitting, but it was split up, and he intended to continue to do more because he had plans to basically fix everything of my life. Like, he listened to me rant about my license disc not being renewed, my driver's license, my car is unserviced, I need to go see a dermatologist, I need to get to an optometrist to get glasses, I need to fix my teeth, orthodont, anything that I complained about, right, on my channel. Basically, I was complaining that my life has fallen apart, I can't even see a doctor. This guy was planning on funneling funds to me, basically, to get things done incrementally. And it was little by little that he was doing this, because he had his own life that he had to, of course, cater to. So he couldn't give me everything, but he was so serving. The first batch of money that he gave me, I was able to purchase, like I used to make these drinks for myself, you know. I was able to purchase like ingredients for my drinks, these protein shakes that I use for exercise. I was able to buy skincare creams like my benzoyl peroxide, my moisturizers, basic things like tampons. Like, this guy basically took care of me. He took care of me in a way that nobody was. Nobody cared. Nobody cared that I was just basically sitting around languishing, getting nowhere. And he sent me money in batches. And these transactions would come in sometimes every single day. Like, there would be something that he sends me, like, literally every day. I would get, like, this notification on my phone. And I would, of course, every time he would send me money, I would respond. I would send him a DM on, my goodness, like, thank you so much. Oh my, I was just like, I was so emotional. Like, I was like, what? Like, nobody, like, and he was a complete stranger. And after enabling me in this way, he did not expect anything from me. He did not ask anything from me. And I was able to then get on in the car, my mom's car, drive, go get what I needed. I corrected so many issues that I was struggling with because of him. I was complaining about my lighting conditions. I can't light up my space sufficiently enough in order to do ministry, you know, because this is the only place that I have. And because of the money that he sent me, I was able to purchase that light that you're seeing in the back. That was him. I've got 2 lights facing me now that you don't see, that are not on the camera. It was money that he gave me. And they were not cheap. I mean, in total, my lighting cost about 2,500 rands, and it was from him. In total, my lighting that is in this room was financed by him. So I'm able to have better lighting conditions in my ministry because of what he did. I prospered to get the horseshoe that I always wanted for my nose ring. So I did a jewelry haul on my ears for my piercings, because the jewelry that I was wearing was uncomfortable and it wasn't made for my piercings and whatnot. So basically, some of the jewelry on my ears, he got it. He got it for me. I mean, it was money from him. I was able to buy skin creams because I was running out, and I there's nothing I hate more than having to ask my mom for stuff, because she's hurt me and she has put me in a position to be dependent on her. So for me, it was like, no. And I was so glad that this man came into my life and basically gave me independence from a woman that is destroying the life of her own child. And I was able to buy for myself everything that I needed. I suffered no want at all. So because of how much he helped me, and how much he also was not, you know, nothing is my highlight, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. He wasn't depending on what he did for me in order to get me. It was just like, yeah, he appeared to be somebody that was genuinely really just doing the call of God on his life, the charge that Christ has put on his heart for me. And I because of that, guys, like, I struggled. I was like, nope. You don't want a Cinderella life. You don't want to be rescued by a man. Plus, you don't know this guy altogether. You don't know what his true intentions are. You don't know. Plus, he's all the way in another country. I literally developed feelings for him because he was just helping me so much. And he was also the only source of comfort. Like, it's such a dangerous place to be in as a woman when you're alone, because men sometimes use that. He was a source of comfort. He was somebody that I could talk to every day. Everybody was ignoring me and he was talking to me. He was, you know, sending me recommendations. He was, another thing that really just made me absolutely be happy with this man. You know, my channel is struggling, guys. I get like 1, 2, 3, 5 views here and there. These days it's growing a little bit, so I'm in the double digits. Yeah, and so, like, sometimes I would upload a video and there'd be absolutely no views. This guy, when he rocked up in the picture, I was guaranteed at least 1 view a day. Like, I was guaranteed at least 1 view, and I was guaranteed at least 1 like. And the thing about him is, he would watch my stuff from the beginning to the end. He listened to everything. He watched all my videos and he made sure to like them. He made sure to watch all of my work, and for me that was enough. Sometimes the comments that, you know, when a man loves a woman, and this woman's feelings are sort of kind of reciprocated, guys, you know, the power of romance. That's how I got telling this story, right? The power of a man's love over a woman is sufficient. It's enough to keep her buoyant even when no one else cares. you are able to be happy and okay and content when the whole world is rejecting you. It is therefore so very important for godly men to come into the lives of godly women who are suffering any kind of persecution at all, because it gives them comfort that these men are what it is that love them. Like, think about the story of Hannah. You know how Elkanah was trying to comfort Hannah, saying that is the love that I have for you not enough? But Hannah was bereft. She was crying because she couldn't have a baby. But what Elkanah was saying is true. It's true. When a man is supporting you, and romantic love is so passionate, it's fervent, and it is the kind of love that Christ has for the church. It is like, bride and groom, and it is therefore the most important relationship on the earth. I have done a blog where I spoke about that, the importance of marriage, of romantic relations. It is the most important kind of relationship that can ever exist on the planet, precisely because of its power to heal from so many things. Joseph is evidence of the fact that romantic love and the fruit of it produces healing from other pains. After getting married to his wife and having their first child, he looked at his life conditions and named his son Manasseh and said, I will call my child Manasseh because I have been made to forget the pain of my father's household. So the falling in love by Joseph with his wife and the bearing of children as a result of that romantic union caused Joseph to forget about the pain, the extreme one at that, of his father's household. So when romance works out really well, you literally, against all odds, guys, you strive against everything. You can conquer pain elsewhere. Everybody else that's hurting you, it just doesn't matter, because romantic love is so healing. It is so healing. It brings so much joy that it prospers to conquer and overwhelm every other sorrow. But when it doesn't go well, it also has power to conquer every other joy. When romance does not work well, everything else that can make you happy doesn't matter. It's sad that that's the way that life is, but it's also great that that's the way life is, because if people honor it, then they stand to be happy irrespective, no matter what. In spite of whatever else happens, they stand to be very glad. So this man, when he was catering to my needs, even though we had not yet made a decision to be together, I, just from having feelings for him alone, and just from knowing that he is my support, knowing that he is there and he's going to be there tomorrow and the next day, and knowing that every video that I upload, I will definitely get at least that one view and that one like. The fact that my channel was not growing, it wasn't picking up, the fact that I wasn't getting more people looking at me, it didn't matter, because I had that one like and I had that one view, and that was enough. That was enough, guys. And so my 5 views per lengthy video that I did, I didn't care, because among them was him, and I knew that he listened to my stuff from beginning to end. I was happy to ride out the sorrow of my YouTube channel's stagnancy with him. I was cool to not even succeed as much as I would love to on YouTube, insofar as he was by my side. For me, it was like, I can do ministry, and even though no one listens to my work, it doesn't matter, because I have you. Literally, I had that thing. I had him, and it was that, like, I was cool. And also my pain because of my father's household, my pain because of my mom, my sisters, the way that my family members treat me, it was so extreme, and I was so inconsolable for so many years that literally for this tiny little interval, this brief little short time that I was busy communicating with this guy, it didn't matter that my mom was so mean and didn't care for me. It didn't matter that my little sister did not treat me like a big sister, but like I'm some maid in the house. It didn't matter that people did not cater to my cause, that my family members are watching me languish. I didn't care. I was so happy, and because of how happy I was able to even be kind to my family members who were as mean to me as they were. You know, my family members have been very cold. They've been ignoring my pain and my sorrow. But I didn't care, because I could smile with them. I remember one time my cousin came over and I gave her such a tight hug because things were going well. A lot of times these days, because of my pain of my family members, I walk in and they're still busy laughing, they're busy talking, they're carrying on with their lives as normal, as if though there's nothing wrong going on with my life, that I'm very bitter. I'm around them, I just look at them on some, how could you just carry on with life like this when I'm so sad, when I'm so broken, when I'm so bereft, when everything of mine is falling apart? But when this guy was around, it didn't matter. I could walk in to the kitchen with my very irresponsible mother, in there doing whatever she's doing, and I'd be like, hi, and I'd be so happy. I would be so happy, because it didn't matter that my mother was not as loving of me as she was supposed to, because somebody loved me and I wanted him too. We were growing in here emotionally for each other, and I also love that he loved things that people are ignoring in my life. Like, he really loved my singing. Like, whenever I would sing, he would just absolutely just be like, he would be taken aback by my videos where I'm singing. And so all the things that I do that I've been lamenting, that I'm smart but no one cares, I can sing but no one cares, I love God but no one cares, he loved the things that no one has not cared about. He loved my godliness, my singing, my work, everything that I'm doing. This guy was just, he was so grateful for it. And for me, it was like, he's everything I need, he's my support. So I found myself catching feelings, and initially it was just a small little prick, but then it became this like knife wound, basically, because eventually it ended up really breaking me to smithereens. But it started out small and then it became a flood. It started out a drop of water and then it became a flood. My feelings just grew and grew and grew. They developed a life of their own. Do you understand? And at which point, because he was still staying at a distance, and I had also said in my ministry a lot that I wanted to leave South Africa, but my main destination, I wanted to end up in the United Kingdom, and he was in the US. So things that I was saying, he was just like, I mean, she's like in SA and she wants to go to the UK. I'm not in the UK, I'm in the US. So he just like, he stayed his distance. He stayed his distance and he stayed away, and I started opening up to him. So initially when he was talking to me, through those DMs, I would respond with these one-word answers. I don't want to lead him on. I don't want him thinking this could turn out into a romance. The initial caveat that I threw in his direction, basically saying, don't expect that this is going to end up in a romance. I was letting that guard down. I was letting it down, and so I opened up. I stopped being kind of succinct and brief, and to the point when I responded to him, I started having open responses that hopefully would encourage him to say something else. Open questions, longer responses, longer sentences, as opposed to just brief, succinct 3-word answers. Yeah, I started opening up dialogue, and I even got to a point where I told him, thanks for everything that you're doing for me, and just every so often, if you want to holla and say what's good, holla and say what's good. Like, hit me up, like, say what's up, like, say, come and check in sometime and say hello. No need for us to be distanced from each other after you have done God's service for me, in your heart. And he was like, yeah, sure, no, I'll keep coming back to holla. But it's like my heart was opening. I was opening, and he still stayed kind of decent about it because he remembers what I had said, right? This will never be a relationship, and I want to go to the UK type thing. That was what this guy was doing. And then another thing that just kind of made me fall hook, line, and sinker for him. So initially, the money that he sent me, right, I couldn't get it because I had to go somewhere. I don't have a car, I don't have petrol, I don't have I had to go somewhere and collect it in cash. He went to the bank that he banks with that day and he spent all day there, literally fighting them on some, why can't she even get it in her account, what's going on. I was like, this guy is going out of his way. He basically sent me, and I told him that I don't have the money, because I first went to go and try and check it at the ATM, right? And I came back thinking he's a scammer, whatever, but I was like, I don't care. It's not like he scammed me of money. That was mine. It's money that was his. I thought that maybe he was just trying to open dialogue. So I came back and I responded to him, and I was like, I went to the ATM and the money doesn't reflect. And that's when he started sending me screen dumps and whatnot of the actual deposits that he had made. And I was like, well, I don't have it. I didn't get it. I went to the ATM and it's not there. Still zero balance type setup thing. That's when he then was on some, okay, I need to figure out what's going on. And he told me that he got on the phone for like several hours and got no joy from them, and then got in his car, went to the bank and queued in there, and to no avail, until eventually the bank agreed to reverse the money back into his account, that he might try some other way of getting it to me, because initially I started using my mom's bank account and she wouldn't even go and collect the money on my behalf. So he reversed all of those transactions and left the transaction that was linked to my bank account, because I ended up going to open a bank account because of those challenges that we were facing. And all of that effort that he put in, for me, I just imagined this complete stranger in a different country like messing up his day just to get me things done, just to get things done on my behalf. That like, just those gestures, that for me was like, it was huge. It was like, I have not had anybody in all this time go out of their way, literally interrupt their own schedule, what they're doing, to serve my need, to serve my cause. Like, just the strange woman in South Africa going through it. And you don't have to do this. And yet he was doing it. He queued in a bank for hours, argued with them, fought with them. There was a reverse of a transaction. The two of us struggled so much, like, to figure this thing out. He looked for apps online on his end that'll enable international transfers. I looked for them. Eventually we settled with Remitly. We eventually figured out a payment system that will enable international transactions. Both of us were like in the dark with this, and so therefore we both were on a learning curve concerning this whole thing. And the fact that he went out of his way that way, like, you know, the amount of time he spent on the phone, and then eventually he got in his car and went to the bank, for me was like, I could just imagine him like chilling there at the bank, arguing with the teller or the inquiries clerk on some, but why can't she get in her account? Why does she have to struggle like this? Why is she running around like this? And I'm like, he's fighting for me already. Guys, stuff like that, like just small little things of that nature really got to me. They really got to me. They sparked feelings in my heart for me, for this guy, like the effort he was putting in, despite there being nothing in it for him in the end. I was just this woman from across the waters, and he was doing this. So for me, it was like, whoa, you know, like, whoa, whoa. My heart. I wanted to resist. I really wanted to resist, but then I like started just getting like, I wanted him to just tell me how he feels, like, just be honest, like, open, just like, do you know, I opened dialogue, I dropped hints, I made it such that he gauged that I was opening up like a flower now, all of a sudden. And in opening up like a flower, we then started to have bigger, deeper conversations rather than just talking about the money that needs to get to me. And so that's when I found out that there are holes in his doctrine, but it didn't matter, because for me it was like, we will grow. We will grow, we will fix and we'll chisel stuff. I started to find out, but then again, not enough information about his life, just, you know, surface level stuff, blah, 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 this is what's going on, da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. And we were chatting, and I just, yeah, so during the season when we were chatting over a couple, maybe like over 2 weeks or something, but it was not like long, lengthy chats, and he was giving me my space. I used to look forward to waking up in the morning and finding like an unopened and unread DM from him type thing. I developed feelings for this guy. I really did. I developed feelings for him. He was taking care of me so well. And once we finally figured out a way to get the money to me, like I said, the transactions just kept on coming and coming and coming and coming. Like, he just kept on dropping so much money into my account. And that, for me, he was taking care of me. He went out of his way to make sure this money got to me. He is not busy actively trying to like exploit the fact that he's been giving me money. Just character virtues that were coming out of him that made me feel like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And then as we were chatting like this, the thing that made me kind of full hook, line, and sinker, it's like I just got slam dunked into feelings for this guy, was finding out how he found me, because I was now opening up to him, and I wasn't closed off anymore, thinking that perhaps he's like some catfisher. That's when he told me how he found my account. You know, he was like, I'm just a guy trying to follow the Lord's will, but I found you on the internet. Some 2 years ago, I was looking through like stuff online, and I eventually found your profile, and I got just like drawn to it. I went in and I saw that you were going through a lot. I thought you had died, and I was like, this guy has not just met me now day before yesterday. He did not happen upon my account when I recently returned. I privatized all of my work, and yet he knows what happened to me in the past. He found me before I even knew. Like, that whole time that he's known of me, been checking out my work, I was underground, I was off the grid, and no one was looking at me, and he was watching my work on YouTube that I had disappeared from, and he thought I was gone. He thought I had died. Then I came back, and he only confessed this to me because I opened up dialogue with him. And that made me, you know, if I was resisting, I melted. I melted. I was like, he's been looking at me all this time. During my hardest times, during that sorrow underground where I was struggling to find my life again, this man was already looking at me. So for me, I was like, oh my. So I didn't even know how then to go back on my words where I said this will never end up in a relationship, blah blah blah. I thought I confirmed that he was godly because I checked out his, remember, I went down his Facebook and he's been posting God's work and whatnot on there. I thought for the life of me that this is someone that I can let my guard down to. My guard down. Plus, when he was busy sending me all that money, I remember also saying to God, yo, Father, I'm going to feel so bad. I have a feeling that this guy has feelings for me. I'm going to feel so bad if I end up getting married to some other guy when he would have been the initial boost. He would have been the person that would have helped me basically get my life back together again, and I go marry someone else. And I imagine that the way that the Lord responded to my concerns for breaking his heart was by putting feelings in my heart and him saying, don't worry, because he is your husband. He is your guy. He is your husband. So when you start to catch feelings, honey, it's okay. Run with them. So when then feelings started happening, I tried to resist, but then I remembered that I did feel bad. And I even took it to God on some, when a man serves a woman and helps her like this, chances are he's got feelings for her, even though he hasn't said it in so many words, this guy. I told him, I threw a very big fat chunky caveat in his direction. The first time he contacted me, I told him this will never be a relationship. And so he's just on some keeping a distance from me. I don't want to break his heart. And I took it to God initially before I developed feelings for him. I took it to God. I was like, I'm going to break his heart. I'm going to break his heart because I'm going to marry someone else, because no man does this for a woman that they don't have any feelings for. I was busy thinking very logically. And then feelings came into me, right? Feelings basically was sparked. And yeah, sparks were flying. Feelings came into me. And when the feelings came, I was like, okay, Father, then I guess must I let him pursue me? And I didn't even know how then to reopen that dialogue, because now the feelings I didn't have were here, right? So I contacted him, sorry. I then started writing and talking very much about Ruth type antics, you know. I started speaking about how it is that black men, you know, they're so full of reverse psychology and they don't tell women how they feel. You have to constantly wonder what's going on, and I was like, you know, low-key dropping hints in my ministry, right? Like doing videos of that nature. And you know, like Ruth on the threshing floor with Boaz, he got it. Like, you know, I told you guys that I've already been through an experience where I was dealing with a prodigal son at first, and this guy just did not respond to the hints that I was dropping. This guy got it. That one of my videos that I did, I remember I was wearing a mask, like a face mask, for my skincare type thing. You remember I told you he used to watch all my stuff and he would like everything. So I knew that if I upload a post, he will watch it and he will be one of the first views that come in and check out my stuff, right? So I knew that I was talking to him like with hints, you know, with like under wraps kind of suggestions, throwing them in his direction. Basically, I made like Ruth on the threshing floor. And just like my convictions that a woman should not grovel at the feet of Boaz for longer than just over that one night. And I was at the threshing floor of Boaz for one night. I did one video that put a bullseye, a nail in the coffin. And he was like, oh my goodness, is she talking to me? Is she talking to me? Is she talking to me? His response was so biblical. Hey, are you feeling reached by my content on YouTube? If so, you might be interested in checking out my tweets as well, alongside reading my content on my WordPress account, alongside checking out my shorts on TikTok. They're all in the description box below. Please enjoy the next coming content. Bye. He basically stopped talking about, hey, how you doing? How you holding up? Nah, I'm good. Y'all know, check out this video. Check out this thing about the mark of the beast. Check out now. It stopped being this general fluffy with friends in Christ chat. And this time around, like, yo, guys, by the time that I uploaded that post, perhaps at night, the next morning when I woke up, the DMs that came through, like one after the other. And his response even on YouTube was like a bullseye, like, you know, a bullseye. Like the thing that I wrote, the video that I uploaded, his response was just bullseye. And after that, when I woke up in the morning, I woke up to multiple DMs from him, and he basically opened up like a book, like whatever it is that he was withholding information about himself, he vomited it. He was like, oh whoa, okay, so this is what's good, and this is me. Like, yeah, this is what's going on with my life. And yeah, basically being like, hey, let's talk, because I have a feeling You just chilled on my threshing floor as Ruth, and I'm responding appropriately as Boaz. I want you. I do. I do. At first I was the one that was like, no, whatever. But I take it as such. So up until that point, we had not spoken at all via video calling or anything. It was just via DM. Direct message. There was a time when he did try to video call me. That during that time when he was trying to reach out at first, and then he wrote on my wall, I was like, this guy, audacity, right? So I didn't respond. I didn't answer. I didn't want to be FaceTiming some new strange guy. But this, or rather, tantamount of FaceTime. It's more like the video call on YouTube, not YouTube, but Facebook. Then this time around, he was like, we can't talk about what's going on with my life and me learn about you and all that jazz. We can't be doing that on DM. We can't be like typing like one after the other like let's talk, like let's actually talk. So we started FaceTiming or DMing or whatever. We started to talk like face to face, but with faces seen. You get my point? Like FaceTime, video call. Goodness, no need for me to explain it so ridiculously. And yeah, with video calling, then initially I was beating around the bush like no man's business about what's going on, because I was kind of embarrassed about the fact that I stood on a threshing floor of a man. It was the tantamount of like, I went and I was like, hey, why aren't you hitting on me? Why aren't you hollering at me? Why aren't you talking to me? Come on, don't you see that, come on. So I felt embarrassed that he got what he caught the hint. I threw the hints, and when he got it, I got embarrassed a little bit. I got shy that, oh my goodness, like, no. Now this guy knows what's going on. So I was beating around the bush. So we spoke for hours, hours before finally we spoke about that. Yeah, I fell in love with this guy, guys. I fell so heavy, like hook, line, and splat, like head on the concrete and all, with teeth out. I fell. We spoke for hours before eventually we spoke about what we needed to talk about. He tried to get to the point, address it, but I was like I was shy about it. But ultimately he was like, look, even if you weren't talking about me, even if you went with Ruth threshing floor, whoever it is that you were talking about that's not quite telling you how he feels, I would like to take his place then. I want to take his position then. So yeah, I beat around the bush. I try to make it look like that's not what I was asking for. But then he was more frank about it. He was more candid on some, okay, if you were not talking to me and you were speaking generally, well, I'd like to be the person that gets it then. I'd like to be the person that takes the position of the guy that is not talking to you then. Whoever you were talking about in that video, since he's such a fool, let me then not be such a fool. And I want, I would like to take his place. And I mean, my primary love language is words of affirmation. So when I was hearing that, I was like, Anyway, I just fell for this guy, y'all. I just fell for him, right? So eventually, I eventually just let it go. Like, I let my shyness go, and I was like, I do. Like, there are feelings in my heart for you. I do. I've got feelings. I really do. It's just that I'm a little bit concerned because, like I said, there were a couple of things about him that kind of unhinged me. Not unhinged me, but they made me uncomfortable. Like, some of his doctrine was a little bit off, and I was like, but this is not any kind of relationship in Christ. It's a potentially romantic one. So we kind of have to agree on everything, including doctrine. Like, we can't not, meet halfway with that. All that jazz. But then he was like, yeah, but we'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's fast. Let's pray. So we ended up agreeing we spoke for, when I say hours, guys, it could be like maybe 12 or 16 non-stop. At some point, I even dozed off and fell asleep while the phone was running. The DM, my Mac was running. On his end, it was a phone. And he didn't put the phone down. Like, it was stuff like that. He didn't put the phone down. And when I woke up, he was like, you're awake. I just felt so hard for this guy. Anyway, so he didn't hang up the phone when I fell asleep. And that was just another thing for me that was like, my goodness. Like, I want to be loved like that. Right? So that's what kind of happened. And then after the phone, after we got off the phone eventually, because we had to at some point get off the phone, go bath, I don't know, live a life, a better, not a better life, but other things. All of a sudden I just got attacked with this I'm stumbled. I'm all hot and bothered. I am this. I'm not sure if this guy, he's far away. Plus, there are all these things that he's walking in that don't make sense. So I was just like, look, I'm uncertain. And we had gotten off that video chat in particular, having agreed that we're going to enter into a fast for 7 days to get confirmation from God if this is it, each of us, from where he's at, from where I'm at. And it would be a 6 to 6, and we'd only eat once a day, right, type thing. That was what it is that we were doing, you know. But before we could even commence the fast, I told him, I said, look, I think maybe we should do the fast away from each other, in that we shouldn't be DMing one another or whatever. We shouldn't be talking. We should just be here, be quiet, and just fast and like listen to the Spirit. This is not a no, but a not yet, because there were things about him that I was uncertain with, like his doctrine and all that jazz. I was like, this is not a no, but it's a not yet. And he was just like, okay, cool, like whatever. And then I disappeared. No, I didn't disappear. I was still like doing my stuff on YouTube, uploading my videos, blah blah blah, wada. And the amount of demonic attack that I got in that week, and also the amount of spiritual protection that I felt from God. I got shown a lot of things, you know, in the fast. And I wanted to, because of having been shown all of these things, it's basically, I was being shown through dreams and visions because of my fast certain things about him. The Spirit of God pretty much told me that some of what he told me about his life was a lie, that he wasn't honest about his fidelities of the past, that there are things that he is hiding that are very material to a married couple to know about each other, that he doesn't want to speak or share, to a point of having lied flat out through his nose and his teeth about it. And that I would find these things out, and it would cause like just a bad falling out. And for me, I was so heartbroken, because I was like, but this guy though, like, I don't have time for all of that heartbreak. And why does he not believe that I'm godly enough to take whatever he has to tell me about his past? Why doesn't he believe it? So I wanted to just cut him off, because I literally am in so much pain. I don't want to be dealing with any such issues. I don't want to be dealing with any such issues. I don't want to be dealing with any such issues. Plus, on top of that, when I was talking to him on the phone, he was very defensive. When he was telling me his life story, right? Because like I was an open book, so he knew a lot about me just based on my channel alone. But when he was telling me, a lot of the stuff when he was telling me, he couldn't even look me in the eye. I thought that maybe it's because he's holding a phone and it's a DM and he's uncomfortable. But he also was, when I would stop him to, like, you know, when somebody's telling you something and you stop them just to get clarity on something that they said, to confirm it, like speaking back to them what they say, to just get your head around certain information. Every time I would stop him just to gain clarity, he would get irritated, like he got agitated, like there was an aggression in him. And I remember being like, yo, Father, such an aggressive man, what am I gonna do with him? He's got this like he was irritable. Whenever I would stop him to get clarity, he would get upset. It's almost as if though he was thinking, concentrating on speaking a lie. So when I interrupted him, because it's very difficult to maintain a lie, he then got like all on me, you know, because like, you're stopping my lie. I need to think through it. I need to wrap my head around it. Come on, like, let me speak. And so when I would interject, he got really like visibly aggressive. And for me, it was like, this is a ticking time bomb. I was scared of it. That's why I decided that I need to fight. It's not a no, but it's a not yet. Another thing about him is that from the very first conversation that we had, he basically proposed marriage to me. Like from the very first day, that day when we spoke for hours, that's when he was like, I'm looking to be your husband. So it didn't take a minute. We didn't go through some long, round, winding route to confirm that this is what's going on. And that for me was also another confirmation that maybe this might be from God, because I asked him for that when my romantic union eventually comes, the dude would be rocking up in my life with the ultimate goal of marrying me, not just dating and dilly-dallying and playing around. And he didn't beat around the bush. He made it clear that, you know, his end goal with this thing of us getting to know each other is ultimately marriage. So he made it clear that this is a courtship. Essentially, then if I had agreed to it, I would be betrothed, or he would be my fiance. So I couldn't just say yes to that. I couldn't just say yes to that when I had these ambivalences in me. One, my life is really tough. Is he not exploiting that? And secondly, why is he so aggressive every time I stop him in the middle of him telling me his life story just to get clarity on certain points? He got very aggro, and he, like, just to help you understand how aggressive he would be like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, stop interrupting me. That's not what I said. You're jumping to conclusions about it. Like, I'm getting to the point. I'm getting to it. Give me time. He was so agitated and so aggressive with like a new woman. Come on, like, put your best foot forward, for crying out loud. You can't just be irritated. He was so irritable. And so when I went to God and I prayed, he opened up my eyes to the fact that the reason he was so irritable every time you were speaking to him or trying to interject in his speech, just to gauge, not to stop him or interrupt him, but to get clarity on spoken points so you can know that you've heard what's knowable about him. That's when the God was like, he's like that because he's lying. He's like that because there's certain information about his past, his history, that he is scared that if he shared it with you, you are going to judge him and walk away. He wants you, and he wants you desperately. And for those reasons, he does not want you to suddenly just walk away from him because you're turned off by certain things that he has spoken of about his history. And I was like, then Father, show him that I'm not that kind of girl, that I can be ride or die, that I know that past, present, and future, have you forgiven our sins, and that everything that we've done in the past really is in the past. And that we're new creations now. Show him that I can love him in spite of what he comes riddled with, whatever issues he had. Insofar as he's put them behind him, and he's happy to grow, I'm cool. Like, I don't care what he's done. Insofar as he can love me from this point forward, we will build a new thing. We will enter into a new life, for that's what you give your children. You know, I don't care what he's done. I don't care what he's been through. I don't care how he's cracked people's skulls. I don't care. I just want honesty. Like, I was so desperate for honesty, like candor and transparency. That's what I was gunning for, because that's how we heal, you know. Confess your sins to one another that you might be healed. That's the Bible. Confess your sins to one another that you might be healed. And I was like, insofar as he's transparent with me, he can find healing from his past, and I can find healing from mine, and the two of us will comfort each other in our sorrow type thing. Whatever we're both going through, we'll comfort one another. I was happy to be with this guy in spite of whatever might have been his baggage. But God told me that he was lying. He was lying to me. And the irritation in me and the sorrow was so extreme that I was like, I don't want to do this because I'm tired. Sorry. I am tired, actually. I was like, I don't want to do this because I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this. This guy's gonna hurt me. I told him, by the way, in the very first conversation we had, I said to him, you're gonna hurt me something bad. Like, I said that. It's almost as if it was a prophecy. And he was like, why would you say that? I was like, I have a feeling you're gonna hurt me because you are dishonest. They're not dishonest, but there is something you're not saying. Like, you're holding back. Yes, those are the words that I use. I was like, you're holding back in some way, and I have a feeling you're gonna hurt me. He was like, why would you say that? Like, yeah, well, is he not just breaking me to smithereens now? Anyway, whatever. So we were broken off for like that entire week, that we were fasting. I told him I'm gonna still continue to fast anyway, and so he was like, yeah, no, fine, I'll also carry on fasting. By the time I got to that fast, guys, you know when they say treble, aye, it's true. My feelings for him in that week where I was trying to let him go trebled. I'm just using the word treble because it sounds like a really great word to use, but they multiplied. I grew so much more. Like, in feeling, my feelings for him just, they got, it was like dough in the oven growing, a batter of it dombolo, just raising and raising like a cookie getting fat and fat inside the oven, and you don't know when it's gonna stop because it keeps on rising, you know, one of those, like a dombolo. My feelings grew like a dombolo, guys. And I blocked him. I unfriended and I blocked him. I wanted him to contact me to say something, to eventually confess what lies he was speaking, because I was begging Christ to make him do that. I was asking God to make him be honest and realize that I'm not gonna hurt him for his past issues. They were then. I'm here now, today. You know, we're gonna go into the future with this. Just let him be honest. We'll work on it. Come on. Yeah, well, anyway, because so he wouldn't come around. He was acting like everything was cool, checking out his posts on Facebook, still acting like whatever, like posting something about the end of days and the mark of the beast, and I'm like, there are big things happening with us, guy, and you're not talking about them. I was so upset that I unfriended him and I blocked him. I basically told him, no, this is it. No, we can't. I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. You're not coming out with the truth. You're holding back. You're holding back. And every time I would say stuff like this, he would just respond to me with, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, guys, it's so frustrating. Women would know. Like, you know, when there is an issue in a relationship and you know there is an issue and you raise it. It's like a gawking elephant in the room with like polka dots on it, and it's also pink in color. And that elephant in the room is chilling there and everybody can see it. And then you raise it as a woman and the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no elephant in the room. Yo. Yo, I know. Wacht biki. Zwach, no chill. Like wait a little minute. Oh. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And what's worse as well is that I kept on writing all of these articles on my WordPress account. Please go check it out. About reverse psychology in our men and how they lie and how they you know, they gaslight us. They make us feel like our sense of reality is not really true. And so we end up feeling a little bit crazy in their presence. And I'd written such laborious, lengthy, goodness, I can write, guys, like very, very like lengthy explanations of the constitution of our men and how it is that they pull stands. Please go check out my WordPress account. It's down below in the description box. I've written about it. My most recent work, it's all about how these men just won't be honest. Where, you know, Mooney Long has a song called Pain, that pain. That's that pain, that's that pain. Do you feel that pain? That pain, oh, that's that pain. I hope it hurts, I hope it crosses your mind at least once a day. Mooney Long says, why can't you just tell me how you feel? Oh, I want to love a homo friend, someone who's genuine. Yeah. Literally word for word, that Mooney Long song is what resonated in my brain and in my heart. I was like, you're gonna lose me because you don't want to be honest. Why won't you just tell me how you feel? I just want to know the truth. Come on, I'm happy to love you through it. I'm happy to grind with you. I'm gonna be ride or die. I'm gonna stick by your side when no one else will. I am your rib. I'm your rib. Yeah, no, by the time we separated, I even sent him that Mooney Long song. I sent it to him once I'm listening to the song. That's that pain. Do you feel that pain? That pain. Oh, that's that pain. I hope you cry. I hope it crosses your mind at least once a day. That's that pain. I hope you feel it. Hope it puts you in the dirt. Skirt. Yeah. I was so irritated with his responses to me trying to probe the issue, because we are basically at couples therapy tantamount. So we have to bring out all the dirt, vomit it out, so that we don't enter into a marriage that's going to be tumultuous. You say you want me to be your wife. I can't accept your proposal until you come out with the truth, guy, because it's eventually going to rear its ugly head. And I don't want to be finding stuff out 2 years into a marriage, a year and a half, perhaps even on a honeymoon. Dude. That's that pain. Do you feel that pain? That pain. I hope it puts you in the dirt. Skirt. Anyway, yeah, that irritated the living daylights out of me. So I unfriended and I blocked him because he was not being candid. He wasn't being honest. Because I was like, if I have access to this man, if I have to keep on seeing him, if I have to see all of his posts, if I have to keep on seeing all of his activity and him having access to me as well, it's just going to, I'm always going to linger and labor and wonder about him as to what's going on. He was still also liking my work and viewing it on YouTube, and I was like, you're patronizing me, you're lying to me, I can't marry a man that's not honest, I wasn't saying it in so many words, but I was thinking it. Yeah, no, all that long winding, and yeah, no appropriate response. And it's funny because I was writing all of this stuff, and he would read all of my blogs on WordPress, and he would also watch all my stuff. Like, he was basically my biggest fan, okay?
Don't forget to like, comment, share and share and share and share, and finally subscribe. Bye.